everyone, it's Cindy Kaza, and you're listening to the Paranormal Zone.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Mike, it's good to see you again. It is the penultimate weekend before our favorite evening of the year. Of course, I'm speaking of Halloween, my friend. Do you have any grand plans for Halloween this year?
I do have a sign on our front door that I really like. It says "Home Sweet Haunted Home" on it. I've had it hanging up here for a long time.
Ooh, yeah.
So anybody that comes to our house, like the mailman or any trick-or-treaters, will see that we live in a haunted house.
Okay. So that's your grand plan?
Yeah. I'm actually thinking about handwriting a note underneath it and saying, and yes, it really is haunted, but I don't.
Okay. And then another note, feel free to inquire further if interested.
Yes. Would you like some candy?
Would you like some candy? Yes. And then you have a donation box right next to your sign.
Yep.
Oh, feel free to
box
assist.
with a slot in the top.
Yeah. A slot. He said, a slot in the top.
Well, for change or folded up bills or what have you.
Right. Folded up bills.
Yeah.
But it is good to see you. Like I said, man, it's our favorite time of year, and it has been for a few weeks now. It comes and goes so fast.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone's Halloween will treat them safely and in a devilishly good manner, of course.
Yeah, true. I need more fall time, though. I love fall.
Exactly.
But it doesn't last long enough.
I'm not sure if it's still the same fear for the young kids as it was when I was little trick-or-treating, but you'd hear the horror stories of people, having razor blades shoved into their Snicker bar and all that.
I heard the same thing back in the 60s about apples.
There you go.
There could be a razor blade or a needle in that apple.
Needle even. Oh my gosh. Yeah. An infected hypodermic needle, just like somehow inserted perfectly into the stem of the apple. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the same nowadays, but gosh, do kids even trick-or-treaters at all digital? I don't know. I'm getting so old. They trick-or-treat with their phones, probably. I guess I'm not sure.
Well, there is the trunk-or-treats that are quite popular.
Very safe. What the hell is that? I don't even know.
You've never heard of a trunk-or-treat?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I actually have participated in one a number of years ago. It's where, like, you have a business and they take their parking lot and they line up cars along the parking lot, like along one edge of it, well, around the whole thing, with their trunks or hatches or whatever facing, towards the parking lot. And people will decorate the backs of their cars or their trunks or their hatchbacks. Very Halloween, really cool. And they've just got tons of candy in there, and the kids can come around in this whole line and just go to each car and get candy. It's a really cool thing.
I have never heard of such a thing.
Trunk or treat. Yeah.
Man, I feel like I've been alienated from a very cool Halloween specific event.
Well, you've been idiotized since a young child, so.
Apparently, yeah. Is that a word? Idiotized? It is now.
That would be the second word I made up today, I think.
Yes, you did. I don't remember what the first one was. Don't even remember what the first one was.
It fit. It worked for me. I don't know.
Well, we do have an eerie topic tonight to wrap up our Halloween series of episodes. This will be our third episode this month, I believe, plus a Patreon episode or two. We've been on top of our game, Mike, and I'm happy for that. This video or this episode will be available as a video on our Patreon page. Aren't you all lucky, our lovely patrons out there? And what better way to entice people to give us a hard-earned dollar a month other than to look at our, I don't know,
Let's see what Scally Mike's wearing this week.
Yes, let's see what names they call themselves today. Yeah, Mike is a grungy old man today.
You are Leroy.
Yeah, Leroy. I couldn't think of anything else. Leroy sounded good, so whatever. But hey,
lopsided Leroy.
Like I said, what better way to support the podcast, right? I'll get the necessary evil all the way. Yeah, if you do manage to make it through the entire length of this episode, God bless you. We love you and we thank you so much. But if you do enjoy the content, the content, no better way to support the podcast and to give our Patreon page a shot. As I mentioned before, you can sign up for as little as $1 a month. No obligations. We have some free episodes available as well. You can check some content out for free to see if it's to your liking. If not, no problem. We get it. We thank you for giving it a shot. But yeah, we got almost 500 exclusive posts on our Patreon page, including well over 100 posts, including over 100 exclusive Patreon episodes that you can't find anywhere else. So yeah, we'd love to see it. All right, necessary evil out of the way, Mike. You kept on trying to. It seemed like something was really important that you wanted to say.
No, not really. Well, when you were saying that, if you have stuck through it, God bless you. But hey, we love you. Even if they can't stand it for 10 minutes and they got to go.
Yes,
we still love you. I mean,
we love you. Exactly.
It's not your fault.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. Everyone has their own tastes, and it's all respected. Yeah. And we thank you for giving us a shot. But again, like I said, we have an eerie topic for sure. We're talking paranormal / spiritual / ghostly attacks, Mike. Yeah, we hear so often, throughout the years, tales, grisly tales, sometimes always terrifying tales of people who claim to have been physically attacked by, I guess, invisible entities. I mean, to me, I don't know what else could be more terrifying. You always joke, Mike. You said, I want you to get slapped in the face by a damn ghosty, Patrick, because that's the only way you'll believe it. And I'm always in the back of my mind going, true. No.
But no.
I don't want
Not that it has to leave marks or anything.
Oh, okay.
Hell, what about that picture I sent you of my leg that I have no idea how that got there all of a sudden? That started burning.
That was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Well, we've
crazy.
We've had personal experiences. I mean, not to the level of you can say I was attacked or anything like that, but I have a family member who was physically scratched. The most level-headed, calm, intelligent person you could meet, who has no flights of fancy whatsoever. And I have seen the pictures of her with the scratches on her back.
You sent them to me, and they're just your very typical classic paranormal scratch. It looked like
the scratch, exactly.
Well, which can look like that could be paranormal, but that looks like a scratch. It looks like a scratch, but
I get you. But this was something that,
but if you can't identify how you got it,
and she was
in that. It's there.
She was in the location where we've talked about before. The allegedly haunted school where she works at as a teacher, and started complaining about her back feeling like it was starting to burn. And it just, it was like an intense pain in her back. And it wasn't until she got home and she asked my brother, her husband, she was like, can you look at my back? And lo and behold, bam, there it was. And I don't know how to explain stuff like that, Mike. It's truly spooky and eerie. And it's before we dive into a lot of these, some of these stories and these details that we're going to share, is there a possibility that maybe this is not malevolent in intent? And is it like a desperate attempt for a ghost? It's like, I've been trying to get your attention and nothing is working, so I have to do this.
Yeah, they saved up enough energy to where this has got to work.
Yeah.
But, like that thing with my leg when I was out in the kitchen, I was cooking, and my lower leg, not too far up from my ankle, it just started burning like crazy. And it was an intense burn. And then when I looked at it, and it's like that, it didn't look like any scratch you usually see on like a paranormal TV show or anything. It was nasty. It was big. Like somebody took like a thumbnail and just went,
man, alive. coincidental, that both you and my
Hey,
sister-in-law
I don't
say
know.
you felt like the burn before you even noticed like the scratch, or the burn caused you to take a look.
Exactly. Intense
That's a
burn. Yeah.
yeah,
That was the pain, the burning feeling.
that's crazy. Yeah, it's bizarre. We have some stories to tell, allegedly true stories to tell. We're gonna start off the episode as sort of a segue, but it is an example of potential kind of nefarious, nasty, ghostly activity. And this one, maybe, perhaps, sadly, tragically, ended up in death. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you've probably heard me on one of our audio posts from our latest jaunt to Standing Rock. When Mike and I went to Standing Rock just 2 Thursdays ago.
It was a perfect day to be there.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
so
so
gorgeous.
beautiful. But
And the cows.
I got a
Had a lot of
notification,
cows.
and it's a lot of cows. Very lively, very approachable cows.
I'm glad there is a fence there, a little barbed wire fence. That
Yeah,
would
me
have been
too.
that one would have been trying to impregnate you, I think.
I
If
might still be on Standing Rock right now. Yes.
yeah. But anyway,
Um,
go ahead.
but during our visit there, I got a text from Bridget, and she said, she goes, Ace Frehley passed away. And I tried not to seem kind of off the rest of the night, Mike, but it did hit me. It was on my mind for the rest of the evening. For people who may not know, Ace Frehley was the original lead guitarist for the rock band Kiss, and Kiss played a gigantic role in my life as a young man, and I was a huge fan. It's difficult to even explain how enamored I was with this. So he was
As a child, did you ever dress as one of them for Halloween?
tried to. I never could find any good proper like makeup stuff. But the thing
Yeah.
is, it's crazy, and we're not going to go down memory lane here for me. It's crazy because I became a fan as a young teenager, well, a young kid, like 11 years old, when I became obsessed with them. Um, During their makeup years, this was in the 80s, and they had already gone far past their makeup stuff. So I became a fan backwards because I saw them. A friend of mine at the time showed me the classic 1978 made-for-television movie Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I had no clue. I was 11 years old, Mike, 10 years old maybe. I was like, who the F are these crazy MFers? And where do I learn more about them? I was blown away. I mean, they were so different and cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going back home, asking my older brothers if they had any Kiss records. It's like, yes, we do. And I
Of
went and
course.
found one, but they didn't have makeup on. I was like, this isn't the same band. That's not who I saw. Anyways, long story short, too late. I became a huge fan for years. So Ace Frehley's passing was shocking, and it really hit me. And it hit a lot of people worldwide.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So that being said, going back to, do you remember the show Celebrity Ghost Stories, Mike? From
Yes, I
gosh,
still watch it.
do we still do?
It's
Reboots or
reruns. Yeah.
reruns.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2000, I don't know, 13 or something like that, 2014, when Ace was on there, and he shared some of his peculiar ghost stories. I'll keep it as brief as possible. Long story short, I'll try to make a long story short. Ace had experiences at his house after moving into a particular abode of his where his family members, his daughter and his then wife, both had rather terrifying experiences. And according to Ace, they all believe that both his daughter and his then wife, on more than one occasion, both suffered falls down their stairs where they claimed that they didn't slip. This wasn't a fall caused on their own. They were pushed.
That does happen.
Something pushed them. Like I said, on more than one occasion. Thankfully, neither of them suffered severe injuries. But such occurrence kind of set the downfall, according to Ace, of his relationship at the time, which you hear as a very common occurrence for a lot of paranormal activities. It starts to break down the family.
Mm-hmm.
especially if maybe one's a believer and the other one isn't a believer, or any number of things.
They're pitted against each other.
Yeah. Ace at one point then moved to Los Angeles, fell in love with another woman. If I'm remembering correctly, this woman friend of his suffered a fall down the stairs, a severe fall, where, you guessed it, she said she was pushed.
Oh, but she
Now-
used to like to dress up like the spaceman, though. So
Yeah, she might have been wearing the platform boots. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
But
don't
yeah, it could have had something to do with it. Fast forward to the a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago, reports came out that Ace had to abruptly cancel his upcoming shows. At first, it said that he's very sad to cancel this show, but he will be up and running. He's recovering after a minor fall at his home. Then time went
minor
on.
fall.
A week or 2 weeks later, then all of his upcoming shows, all the way through like next year, beginning next year, were all canceled. And you start hearing rumblings, you start hear rumors, like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear anything from Ace. You don't hear anything from his camp. Then you hear the news that he's hospitalized. Then you hear the news he's on life support. And then bam, 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 just like that, Ace Frehley passes away. The story then comes out, Mike. He suffered a severe fall, not once, as the first initial report said, falling in the studio, but twice, falling down his stairs in his house. The second fall proved to be the fatal blow, I guess. He suffered a severe brain bleed, never regained consciousness, and his family pulled him off life support. Tragic. It's sad. Really,
Yeah.
He was 74 years old. He lived the rock and roll lifestyle. He had for all accounts and purposes, he had a great life.
A good God-fearing man, I'm sure.
Well, he had a Catholic funeral. I know that. He was an Irish Catholic, and
Well, there you go.
it's just, Mike, is that just pure coincidence? I bring this up as a segue into some of the stuff we're going to be talking about.
It's a lot of coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts about this, because I texted you that a couple days ago, and I don't know. I don't want to put too much weight on it. Maybe it is coincidence, but to have. By the way, going back to the ghost story, I need to share this too with Ace's ghost story. At that time, he said he contacted a psychic, and they brought a psychic into his house after these occurrences. And the psychic told Ace and his family that their house was haunted by a woman who had murdered her children in that house. That's what the
Pushed him down the
psychic told
stairs,
him.
I suppose.
Yeah, I guess I don't know the detail.
I don't
know the detail about that.
Mm.
But again, take that however you will. But your thoughts on that, Mike? It just seems, I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around it as being pure coincidence, but maybe it was.
Well, that's where you think of the attachment thing. It's like something followed him. Did something follow him around? I mean, I followed him, probably across the country to where he moved to. I don't know where he was originally.
Well, he was, I believe it was Connecticut.
Okay. So
I mean, it was East
all
Coast,
the
and
way
then
across the country.
Yeah, all the way across country to LA.
Yeah. Distance doesn't matter if you have an attachment anyway. But
and if I'm getting all the details mixed up to those who may be more familiar with the story, I got the gist of it. I know that, but I don't know. It's just, it's bizarre. And I'm not sure if it's purely coincidental. What's your vibe, Mike? I mean, do you feel like it's purely coincidental, or do you think there's something a little bit more?
I think in the beginning, it's just an idea. In the beginning, it was like I don't want to say a normal paranormal occurrence where, something tried to push him down the stairs. And it kept on going. It happened to three of the members of the family in that one place, correct?
So both houses, like
in both places.
The wife and the daughter in the Connecticut home or the New York home, and then like the girlfriend in the Los Angeles
and then the
home.
new one. Yeah, there's an attachment there.
And then then the fatal falls for Ace when he moves back.
Exactly. Okay, so there's something going on there. Maybe Ace reminded. Maybe it was a woman that was haunting this place that, hey, she killed her kids. She has no morals. She'll do whatever again in death as she did in life. And maybe she just didn't like his vibe.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true.
Maybe she saw him with the makeup on, and it's like, no, I don't like that. That doesn't belong. No, hey, I do remember when they first took their makeup off, and it was a very anticipated thing. It's like,
For sure.
it's like, because I remember it so well. I remember it so well, and it's like I can't wait to see what they look like without their makeup on.
And then
And
you're
then
like,
when they had,
no.
and then like, what the hell? And
It's
I
like, put it
remember
back
people,
on.
yeah, I remember people saying that. It's like, oh, they should have left it on, but whatever.
Well,
I don't know.
it's Ace was out of the band by that time, so it was like wasn't nearly as big a deal because Kiss had two different members at that time. They had replaced their drummer and they had replaced Ace, and so they hadn't been there for so long. It wasn't like it didn't hit fandom in the way that it may have in the 70s.
I think it started out as being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Another thing that I just learned today. I didn't know this because when I was looking up on stuff to talk about for the podcast, I found another interview with Ace that he recorded not that long ago, 2 years ago, maybe. And he talked about an incident in 2018, 2017. He just casually said, yeah, well, I fell down the stairs and I broke my arm. And I was fearful that I would never be able to play guitar again because it was my strumming arm.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't know that. I had never heard this. This was yet another fall from Ace down his stairs. And this one,
no,
where he busted his arm.
Yeah, something was after him. Something was after his whole family. Or,
But why? I mean, that's the thing. From all accounts, he was a fun-loving guy who loved life. And he didn't have enemies as far as we know. But I know his first wife had mafia ties. I know that.
Yeah.
And they're Catholic, and the mafia, they don't approve of divorce.
And the Irish.
And the
hey, I'm proud of my Irish heritage. I am.
And I'm not combining. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not combining the two. But how many flipping falls are going to occur and then ultimately ends up killing the guy?
Well, I don't know. I hate to think of it as a targeted thing, but from a entity. But I wish we could know, unless you have heard anything or read anything about people that have lived there previously or after he lived there. If there's any haunting, or
that's a good
history of the house. How has it been there for forever? Was it in a place where, it could have went back to the 30s, where you hear these places where lavish parties were thrown by big, influential people, and it's like stuff happened there. Yeah. Well, the woman killed her children there. I think it's like I said. I think it's being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's stuck with them.
That's stuck with them, yeah. Which is sad and tragic. Ultimately tragic. Like you said, maybe it was the house. Maybe the house drove the mother to kill her kids. Maybe there's something about the land. I mean, who knows? There's so many possibilities. But rest in peace to the Space Ace. Man, not a good way to go, but hey, it happened. So
yeah,
it's a cliche, but the music will go on forever.
Yeah, it's an honest cliche.
Yeah, for sure. Now, some of the stories, Mike, here that I want to share with you and our audience, our ever expanding audience.
Share with me, my friend.
Some of these are legitimately creepy, for sure. Well, all of them are creepy, and some of them have, unfortunately, circumstances involved in these. I am just to make sure we give credit where credit is due. This is an article from weirddarkness.com. And it's titled When Spirits Turn
Darkness.
Weird Darkness. When Spirits Turn Deadly.
Or at least nasty at the very
least. Or at least nasty. Yeah, exactly. Maybe a little smelly,
Yeah. I smell rot, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Not exactly cordial. Yeah. Just rude ghosts. They're just a bunch of jerks. That's all they are.
I'm home alone. I smell somebody farted really bad, and I know it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I'm telling you right now. And some of these examples we've talked about extensively before on the podcast. This one, I am being upfront. I don't recognize the story. I don't believe we have talked about it.
Well, we are usually quite redundant in the things.
Yeah, we tend to be. This is the story of Maria Jose Ferreira. I don't believe we talked about her. But this took place in a small Brazilian town. That part rings a bell to me, but I'm not sure if they're the same stories.
Well, don't they have like the whole? I could be totally wrong. They have some like the dark magic Santeria kind of type stuff down
No,
there. And I
yeah,
don't want to
for
say
sure.
Santeria because I don't know enough about it to say if it's, what level that is or anything. I don't want to,
Sure.
say anything bad about it or anything, but something like, like a voodoo type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think you're on. I think you're onto something right there. The one fact that you can't overlook is that Maria unfortunately ended up dying when she was only 11 years old, due allegedly to this paranormal activity, a manifestation in her house.
You struggled with that word.
I did. It's like, I had to look up. Oh,
Manifestation.
That too. The manifestations began subtly in her house with stones and bricks appearing from nowhere inside the family home.
I've heard stories like this before.
Yeah, that's interesting. But the phenomena quickly turned personal and sadly quite vicious. This unseen entity seemed to focus its range specifically on 11-year-old Maria by subjecting the young girl to a relentless campaign of physical abuse. I mean, that's just.
I get it, like
awful.
Another Annalise situation.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no kidding.
Don't play that. Don't play that clip.
I could. That's Mike's That's Mike's kryptonite. If you ever want to keep Mike up all night, besides his bodily pains, send him a clip of Annalise exorcism. Ugh. But Maria was scratched. She was slapped by invisible hands and even bitten by an invisible force, leaving her constantly covered in bruises and marks that no one could explain. They just weren't explainable. Now, of course, the pseudo skeptics they'll think of something, some sort of physical anomaly. It's like, wow, she's doing this to herself,
It's encephalitis.
That
I don't know.
Mosquito bites. Yeah.
Yeah. Got a bad skeeter.
I mean, the Ferrer family obviously became desperate, and they called in a Catholic priest to perform an exorcism. I mean, that's not uncommon for the time, obviously.
Well, they are still.
They're still, I shouldn't even say for the time.
They're still exorcists in having duty in the Catholic Church, I believe. Yeah.
You said duty.
Doodie. Duty.
There's a soundbite right there. That is a go on the soundbar.
There you go.
I gotta remember that. That's about a 2740.
Dirty.
Unfortunately, this ritual not only did it fail to help Maria, but it seemed to actually enrage this entity even further. Its attacks escalated dramatically, most horrifically. This is where it gets absolutely bizarre. It's already bizarre. This is why I think we haven't talked about this, because I would have remembered this, and you would have too. This is where the spirit began setting Maria on fire in public places.
I've heard of
where
little
multiple
fires being set around the house, but not
public places. Ugh. A person in public places, multiple witnesses to this event.
Well, it would have helped if she didn't carry gunpowder in her pockets or something. Sandpaper along with it.
Her dad doused her in kerosene when they took her out in public all the time. I mean, that's not a good idea. No.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, seeking answers, the family consulted a local spirit medium. The medium claimed to actually identify the source of Maria's torment through contact with the spirit. I was going to say the spiritnatural realm, the supernatural realm.
Here you go again.
I think I'm getting affected by some sort of spiritual. I just was going to say spiritual natural again. My goodness gracious.
Good Lord.
Now, according to this communication.
Have you checked your radon level in your house yet?
That's a good, I should. That's a good suggestion.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, make sure there's no gas leak in the house. According to this spiritual communication via the medium, Maria had in fact been a witch in a previous life who had actually used black magic to cause the deaths of several people. So this poor girl had somehow been inhabited, or her physical body was born with this witch spirit, perhaps already clinging to her.
Right. This innocent child.
Yeah, why?
Born with this automatic attachment that causes so many problems.
Causes the deaths of other people. The spirits of her alleged victims had found her current incarnation as this young girl and were seeking revenge. So this is a vengeful spirit.
It's as good
a vengeful. Yeah. People who were murdered by a witch using black magic coming back and to attack the physical embodiment of this witch, even though it's in the form of an 11-year-old girl.
Well, to them, they wouldn't be attacking this 11-year-old girl. They would be attacking the witch that's in.
Right.
Yeah.
You wonder if they even, I hate to use physical terms, you wonder if they even, quote, see, as you said, this girl as she is, or they just see this witch, like as they remembered her.
Or they see this young girl, but that's irrelevant because of what the witch had done in her lifetime.
Yeah, that's another possibility too.
Which to us is total ludicrousy, but
it seems
to them back then
impossible.
that went through so much torture from this entity, they're going to get back at it, however, and that young girl isn't going to matter.
Regardless. Yeah.
They're just hell-bent.
The supernatural entities reportedly refused to listen to these appeals. Well, I should say the medium pleaded with the vengeful spirits to leave the innocent child alone, but they refused to listen. They intended to make Maria, the 11-year-old, pay for crimes that she had no memory of committing. Well, yeah, obviously.
Oh, yeah, because she's not the one who committed them.
She's not the one who did them. Oh, this poor kid. The attacks continued with increasing intensity, which is hard to believe. They've been setting her on fire. Maria, still just a child, found herself living in constant fear, of course, of when the next assault would occur. The psychological toll of this sustained supernatural abuse, combined with the physical injuries she regularly sustained, proved too much for her to bear. Unable to escape her invisible tormentors and seeing no end to her suffering, Maria ingested pesticides, thus taking her own life at 11 years old.
Oof. Maybe these entities that were after the spirit of this witch or whatever, maybe they were doing all they could and wanting to get that spirit of that witch out of the girl, no matter what it did to that girl, and they were going to drag her back to hell. Maybe.
That's kind of a silver lining to the tragedy there. I kind of like that.
And I ran out of Oxy. I'm not even going with my Oxy brain right now.
Mike's got major back surgery coming up, and he's just, he's all out of his much needed Oxys, and he's got a clear conscience, a clear head for sure, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a tragic story all around. Again, I mean, this is, I think you and I it'd be really interesting to see if we can find more information on this case and do a real deep dive into this and read witness accounts, from the family members,
What was her name again? I'm going to write this down because I do want to do some research. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Maria Jose Ferreira. And that's I believe it's Ferreira.
I got it. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. I'm not right now, of course, but you know what this reminds me of?
Mike's checking out. Okay, I'm going to go look this up.
Hang on a minute. Let's see.
Yes.
Okay.
Never
mind. But anyway, what this reminds me of, and you and I have covered this, I believe. If we haven't, we've got to, or at least do a deeper dive into it, is the Bell Witch mystery.
That's funny you said that because that's on this
John Bell.
Same article.
Oh, my God. The things that built up with John Bell was immense torture. But
I'm surprised we haven't done that. The Bell Witch was one of our original episodes years and years ago, and we haven't gone back to it.
We need to, because there's much more research that we could do right now with what we have capable with the internet now.
Oh, that's for
as
sure.
Opposed to way back when.
Yeah.
And the story is unbelievable. And the Bell Witch Cave, it's still there. You can go see it. I think it's gated off, but I think if you get permission or get it set up with the people that own the property, they can bring you out there. But I don't know. I read the book. I read that story it was a book of different ghost stories when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Boy, I tell
and that's
you,
something that's
it's
still
stuck
in
with
your
me
mind. Yeah.
big time. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So anyway,
This next story here, and we will keep this as a fairly succinct and short episode. The next one, next example is the Black Monk of Pontefract. Pontefract.
Pontefract.
It's
Is
a
that
house.
English?
You know what? I am not certain at this point. The
Doesn't
house
matter.
at 30 East Drive in Pontefract, Yorkshire.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a good old English town.
Yes, it looked ordinary enough when the Pritchard
It's a
family moved
village.
in when they moved in during the 1960s. Jean and Joe Pritchard, along with their teenage daughter Diane and son Philip, well, they expected nothing more exciting than the suburban life that they were about ready to enjoy. However, that's not how it worked, Mike, unfortunately. Supernatural activity began in August of 1966 with typical poltergeist phenomena: unexplained sounds, objects moving on their own, cold spots throughout the house.
A mother putting a football helmet on her little girl and watching her slide across the kitchen floor.
Chairs
You
stacking
can
to
feel
the
it
ceiling.
pull. You feel it pull from here.
Yes. Birds dying in their. Did she have a bird die? Her pet wasn't a bird, or was it like a lizard? Or so? Why am I thinking it was a bird? Wasn't it that she
I don't
flushed
know.
down the toilet? That Caroline.
They buried it in the backyard. They had a funeral for it and everything.
Yes,
in the backyard.
because
Like
Caroline
under the
caught
big old
mom.
haunted oak tree or whatever.
That's right, because Caroline caught mom before she was about ready to flush it down the toilet. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I love that movie. Second one is obviously phenomenal, but as is the first one. Anyway, go ahead.
As is the case, as is often the case, the family initially just simply denied all these incidents as merely the settling noises of a house or their imagination. But the entity inhabiting their home had no intention of letting them continue to believe that this was that innocuous, that innocent. The article goes on to say, like many poltergeist cases, the phenomena focus primarily on the family's teenage daughter. We've heard that so much, so often. On the Enfield poltergeist, which is in this article as well, focused solely on the young girl in the house. That's just one example of however many. The daughter Diane became the target of increasingly violent supernatural attacks. She was thrown from her bed repeatedly during the night, times with enough force to leave bruises. Sorry for a little sidetrack. We're talking about celebrity ghost stories. Another one who was on Celebrity Ghost Stories back in the day was Charo. You remember Charo?
Well, yeah, she was on Carson quite often.
And she's not just the crazy cha-cha, coochie dancing Charo. She was an unbelievably talented guitarist. It was
phenomenal. The flamenco guitar.
Yes.
Amazing.
And I will admit my ignorance. I didn't know this till like about 5 years ago. I had no clue that she was that talented.
I seen her do that on Carson back in the 70s sometime. Yeah. Very good.
But she was on that Celebrity Ghost Stories, and she spoke of a poltergeist haunting like that where she was yanked out of her bed like forcefully, and she was absolutely terrified, and she was swinging and screaming at this unseen force that would pull her out of the bed and wouldn't let her go. That reminded me of this when I was reading of poor Diane here getting yanked out of her bed repeatedly. One terrifying occasion, family members witnessed her being dragged up the stairs by an invisible
You
force.
Can't fake that. You can't fake that.
The entity's grip around her neck was so strong that it left clear handprint-shaped welts around her throat. So I read this as she was being dragged up the steps by her neck. That's how I'm reading that. This poor girl. The attacks weren't limited to physical assault. The poltergeist actually demonstrated a sadistic intelligence, Mike, in its choice of torments. It would hide Diane's belongings, destroy her schoolwork. Like, good luck with that one. You're not done with your school. Like, poltergeist burned up my homework, teacher. Yeah, right. You get an F. Yeah, poltergeist often created an atmosphere of constant fear that made normal teenage life absolutely impossible for Diane. She lived in
Which
terror
it
of
can
when
be
the next attack.
impossible to begin with alone. Then you got that going on.
Exactly. And that's where it gets even spookier because family members then and visitors then began actually seeing this entity, Mike, this entity itself. They described it as a dark robed figure that would hover at the foot of beds and glide through rooms without making a sound.
Is it still the black
robed
monk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hence the dark robed figure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And hovering from gliding from room to room without making a sound. Ah!
And my uncle that lived, well, he was when one of my Canadian uncles, his family, him and his family lived in a haunted house. I've talked about it before, but people that would be staying at their house visiting or whatever, they would wake up in the middle of the night and they'd see the figure of a man standing at the end of the bed, just watching them.
No, thank you.
Yeah, crazy.
The family said the apparition wore what appeared to be medieval religious robes, the dark robe, leading witnesses to describe it as a monk-like figure. His presence brought with it an overwhelming sense of malevolence and left everyone who encountered it feeling deeply shaken. The haunting attracted attention from paranormal investigators and local media. Multiple witnesses documented the phenomena. I mean, that's key. Multiple witnesses documented this phenomena, including photographs that appeared to show objects in mid-flight and unexplained shadows moving through the house. Again, this is in the 1960s, 1966. So we're talking pre-AI manipulation by decades here, boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the skeptics say, "Oh, that's double exposure. That's all it is. It's a fault in the film, right, Mike?"
That's right.
Unlike many poltergeist cases that rely solely on family testimony, the Pontefract haunting had external verification from credible sources. As with many supernatural encounters, the activity eventually subsided and actually stopped completely. Diane grew older and the entity seemed to lose interest in tormenting the family. They were left to rebuild their lives and try to understand what had happened.
She outgrew the age that.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Again,
he wanted to pick on
wouldn't
her.
that also lend credence to the skeptics' argument that it's all about adolescent young girls and going through, they're creating that whole crazy energy themselves somehow, right?
Well, it could have something to do with it, but that to me that doesn't mean that there can't be an actual, paranormal entity that is having an effect as well. That maybe this brought on this,
well, it's kind of like the
actual entity.
Well, it's one of those type of arguments where it's like, well, what came first, though? The chicken or the egg type thing. It's like it's kind of a corny analogy, but there's some people who, like paranormal investigators, they link like depression or any other social emotional disorders. They say that maybe they're being oppressed by a spirit. Maybe it's an evil entity that's causing this depression. And then there's the other argument that says, well, and if it's still the paranormal argument, that if someone is depressed, an evil entity is more apt to try and attach itself to that depressed person.
Right. And that person is at a weaker point where he's more easily attacked.
Yes. So I don't know where I sit on that argument. I kind of think that an entity, I mean, we're playing devil's advocate here, no pun intended. And I kind of side with the idea that an entity is attracted by those who are already feeling down, and not the other way. Vulnerable. That's a good way of putting it. Yes. And not necessarily the other way around, where they are attacked or attached, a spirit is attached to them, and then they become feeling, God forbid, suicidal or what have you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, this is still the Pontefract situation. Years later, paranormal researcher Tom Cuniff investigated the same house, investigated the history of the house, and his research revealed that the house sat near the site of a medieval priory. Am I pronouncing that one right? Priory?
Yeah.
More significantly, it was located across the street from the former site of a gallows. that had been used for public executions for
Well, maybe that was the
centuries.
executioner that's been haunting
Wow.
the house. Maybe it was a monk / executioner.
Now listen
I
to
wonder if
this.
there would ever be one.
Among those executed at the Pontefract gallows, Mike, was a Cluniac monk who had been convicted of raping and murdering a young girl.
Okay, so that's who it is.
My gosh. Wow.
Oh, the slimy bastard he is.
Of course, the crime and his execution had occurred hundreds of years before the Pritchard family moved into this house, but the proximity of their house to his place of death seemed far more than coincidental. So, thus, the case became known as the Black Monk of Pontefract. That's terrifying and awful.
That's what I love about Great Britain.
Evil in life and evil in death, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly true. But but Great Britain has such wonderful paranormal history going back centuries.
I'd love to be
amazing.
able to travel. I'd love to be able to travel and visit these places.
We don't have the castles here like they do there.
Man, we already hit I wanted to keep this around 45 minutes. You know what? I'm going to leave this up to our listeners and our viewers who are watching on Patreon. There are 3 or 4 other really spooky, creepy, tragic, sad stories on this article. It's weirddarkness.com. When Spirits Turn Deadly, the world's most violent hauntings. I leave it up to you to go check out the rest of those stories. Mike, unfortunately, we have to wrap it up tonight. We have to keep this succinct and entertaining as hell, right? We don't want to go too long because then people fall asleep. So,
yes. I do want to say that we did have the passing of a wonderful classic actor just today that I am so proud that I had the opportunity to meet this person and talk to this person.
Oh, was it the Lassie?
June Lockhart. Yes. Lassie,
yes.
Lost in Space.
Oh,
she passed away, 100 years old.
100 years
yeah,
old.
when I saw her, she was like in her 80s.
Dang.
And just vibrant, wonderful lady. But yeah, she passed away.
I saw that it was Happy Days mom. It was her 97th birthday today.
Marion Ross.
Gosh, you're great with the names when it comes to those old 70s and 60s shows.
Her real name, her name used in the show was Marion as well, wasn't it?
Sounds right. Yeah.
I could just hear Tom Bosley going,
Tom
Marion.
Bosley, yes. So, I mean, again, this episode will be available as a video episode on Patreon for those who just need to look at our gloriously handsome faces. We're both on the top of our game tonight. Yes, both Leroy and Grungy Old Man. Yeah, we're looking great. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Mike, any final thoughts? We could go on a lot about this. There's so many cases about nasty ghost attacks. Again, RIP to the spaceman. It seems too coincidental that all those falls occurred to his family and then, or happened to his family, and then he dies from it. I don't know. Final thoughts on tonight's discussion.
I would like to see the staircase to see just how precarious it might be.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows? Maybe it was only 4 steps.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to be fair. You have to throw it out there. Ace jokingly said throughout his lifetime that he was notorious for his bad balance. He always said that about himself because he said that when I walk, people always say I look like I'm wobbling. I'm walking or I look like I'm in space. Because I'm wobbly. So I don't know. Maybe he just really was apt to falling. Anyways,
maybe he had neuropathy in his feet. I know how that is. Your balance cannot be good.
But just by that fact does not dismiss the tragedy or the eerie coincidence.
Yeah, there's too much there for it to be coincidence.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned.
Share your thoughts. What do you guys think? We'd love to hear it. We love to hear from you. Anyways, keep up with the positive comments if you've done it. Keep sharing the links. Subscribe wherever you listen. Leave those positive reviews. They help a lot. We can't emphasize how much those positive reviews help. The more positive reviews you get, the more apt you are, the more prone you are to be seen by other people scrolling, looking for their next favorite podcast. We appreciate it.
And over 10 years, we just haven't gotten there yet.
Not really. Yeah. Well, way to end on a downer right there.
No.
I'm
kidding.
Hey, I went a whole episode without using the soundbar. I'm proud of myself.
You did. Well,
did.
you got an idea for another soundbite, I guess, but
I do. I got a good one.
I don't remember what it was now, but
that was you saying duty. It'll be a good one. Mike, stick around. Remember, I want to play that audio clip that I have in mind that I'll let you go to enjoy the rest of your evening. But until then, Mike, what do our awesome paranormal pals, a happy Halloween to all of you, what do they all, Mike, need?
Peace out.
to do?
Peace out.